Hi, I'd like to go over my Guldan staff quickly, how I made it, and then how it kind of gets put together whenever I travel with it. So first is the head of the staff. Looks like this. You can kind of see I used a broomstick, so you can kind of see that. There's a screw. And then this white portion is foam plus paper mache. So you can kind of see it's really been bulked out. And that wooden dowel ends probably about here-ish. And then this entire body in the center, like the very center, right there. There's a piece of wood that's a little smaller than this shape. And then what happened was I needed a place for a battery pack for the lights. So on one side of that piece of wood, which is right here, there's a box that's been nailed, or technically stapled, to it. And so that's where my battery pack goes. And then that's kind of how the lights get concealed. I'm not sure if you can see, there's a little hole in here where the light goes through, and then the light technically comes out. It's like right there. And then from there, it's wrapped around. So let's see if I can follow the path for you. Oh, and these LED battery packs tend to come with like a clip on the back. I had to break this one off. So you will have to take those kinds of things into consideration. So I can't tell you the exact size of the hole. Also, as you can see, I don't always remember the exact way of putting the battery pack in. I gotta get it in there once, and then I set it and forget it. There we go. And then, so I had just made a quick foam cover. Just pops out of there. I'm sure you could do something a lot cleaner. I thought I wanted like a flat piece of foam, and that didn't work out due to last minute stuff, and the paper mache I didn't clean up super well around the edges, so there wasn't kind of this flat edge. That's kind of what I wanted, a beveled. So this would slide in, and then there'd kind of be a longer piece of foam on the outside that would kind of stay flush with it. Anyways, so as I was saying about the light, so it comes out over here. So then it follows up around the spiral, doubles back around, underneath, all the way around, back up into the spiral, doubles back, comes back over here, and ends right at the end of where it came out. So I did have to measure it, pretty much place the hole in the head of the staff, wrap the wire around before gluing it. I did have to cut some of the wire, left some slack, so I could pull the battery pack in and out while this was still secured on the outside. And yeah, that's the lights. The paper mache, because I had traveled and had put it kind of snugly in my case, the pressure kind of cracked my paper mache in two places here. Disappointing, but easily fixable. I would say if you did paper mache similar to what I did, you'd probably want to put some sort of coating on it. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I should have done. I did, when I first made this, I left the foam out in the sun a little too long, and so I lost some of that clean edge because the foam was still trying to like expand in the sun. So I made things to cover the gaps, but that's pretty much the head of the staff. Just layers of paper mache here, I have to say. The foam was all carved flat and then built up with paper mache where maybe I cut the foam a little too close, or it's not quite as even as I thought it would be. And then carving into that to get kind of that, some of the wood chunks. Yeah. So then it is in 3 sections. So this is the middle section. Like I said, traveling with it, this is some of the damage that it's taken from traveling. Again, kind of showing the connection points for these. And then after using it and again not sealing it, the body paint from my hand kind of wearing off into it. But the nice thing is, like, the heat from my hand, like there's a mold of my hand, so it fits very comfortably here, just like you would expect. Yeah, and so you can kind of see where the wood staff technically goes down, and just larger chunks of foam in certain areas to kind of bulk it out, and then just carved down, and again covered in paper mache, and of course painted. And so, as I said, on the opposite side, and that's the third piece, just the base, and it's tapered at the end, and I think it's held up pretty well. I didn't put anything on the base of the staff. It's still, is the actual wooden broomstick. So yeah, so I'll put together quickly. So I will say that you probably don't need this much to make a connection. This was the first staff that I made, so didn't really know how much I wanted. But pretty much it's a twisty method. So when I said I sprayed it all in foam, I sprayed it all in foam when it was connected together. So that way, as I was carving, I knew the shape that it was going to be. So quick feedback tip or whatever, I don't know what could be better, but I used a little flimsy piece of like plastic bags from the grocery store, and I put it in between these so there was a barrier so the foam didn't touch. Not sure if that was a good idea or bad idea, but I needed to know where the connection was for these. I didn't want to just, twist, and I didn't want to just cut, because you need it to be flat so that when you do go to connect, they don't completely rub against each other. I don't know what the true recommendation on that would be, but I mean, that's pretty much what happened. So as I mentioned before, some of the foam expanded on me, and so I got kind of weird off-center things happening. So how to fix that, for me at least, I made this kind of wrap. And so I have beads for it, and then this is suede. It's the same fabric I used on the robe, and then I just ripped and burnt the edges. And so what I do, so I'm right-handed, and I make sure my beads are going to be on the outside. I pretty much just do this. Wrap it so it's covered. And then I really don't do thick knots, you can. But you just tie it so it's ta-da, hiding the shame. Yeah, and so I do the same thing for the bottom of the staff, just a single piece longer, because the gap there was a little worse for wear, but that's pretty much it. So my takeaways would really be that if you use the foam paper mache method, I would really seal it with something good. Make sure it's sturdy. I still haven't, but not too many issues with it. Like I said, with traveling, I do put the head of the staff into a carry-on. I do want to make that point. The two legs of the staff always go into my check bag, and my head of the staff goes into my carry-on, always. And I just do that because I want to make sure that I know where this puppy is at all times, and I have control over it. Sometimes the heat can play with the LED wires, and they'll kind of come off because it is just hot glued in. So maybe I can just show. And then again, that goes back to the point of, like, I can control some of this, but not a lot. So as you can see, the inside is painted green. So all the paint was done first before I added the lights. A lot of time working with LEDs, you want to put the lights in first and then put something over it, you'll see, like clear plastic or something. But this is my first time working with lights, so I just knew I needed to kind of have a groove for the lights to sit in. And then I just painted the inside green, made sure that the light was green, and stacked them on top of each other. Does the job. So yeah, that's my quick rundown of the Guldan staff. Happy to answer any other questions that maybe I didn't clear up from this little video of it. And yeah, good luck if you choose to make it.